Hey guys, it's Pastor Amy here with my midweek short message meant to be short, significant, and shareable. We have been talking about Jonah, and I've already talked to you about how Jonah was called by God to minister to people he didn't like. So Jonah ran from God and tried to run from his calling. And he found himself on a ship surrounded by people who were pagan. And even though he was not listening to God, the pagans in the midst of all of that found out who the true God was and started to give him honor and glory and praise, which is what Jonah should have been doing all along. So we're going to continue today, but I wanted to start by giving you a little bit of a backstory from Jonah. Jonah is actually a prophet who lives in the northern kingdom of Israel. After Solomon, the Lord divided Israel into two kingdoms, the northern kingdom, which had 10 of the tribes, and the southern kingdom, which had 2. The southern kingdom was left in the hands of King David's lineage, and it had some really bad kings, some okay kings, and some good kings. But in the north, those kings were all bad. Those people, there were people who longed for the Lord and who loved the Lord, but pretty much in the ruling section of that nation, they had all turned away from God. And so Jonah living there, we can imagine that even though he hears from God and he knows Yahweh, his heart may not be 100% with him or for him. We definitely know that he does not know God's character because he didn't realize that God would come chasing after him. So now we're in chapter 2. And it begins like this. Jonah prayed to the Lord his God from the belly of the fish. Because I can't remember if I ended with chapter 1, verse 17. The Lord appointed a great fish to swallow Jonah, and Jonah was in the belly of the fish 3 days and 3 nights, which is important for another conversation. But first of all, I want to say in our Sunday school, our Bible study lessons, we learned that, being in the belly of a fish is not necessarily some kind of fantastic legend or myth, because in recent history, there have been people, children and full adults, who have been swallowed by large animals and then regurgitated back up. This has happened at least 3 times to my knowledge, and it was not made up news. This was from different parts of the world. And so God is showing his word to be true and possible. So Jonah is now in the belly of the fish, and what we get is a prayer from him where he is finally recognizing that God is God and he is not. And I'm going to go to verse 6, about partway through the end of verse 6 into the rest of the chapter. Then you raised my life from the pit, Lord my God. As my life was fading away, I remembered the Lord, and my prayer came to you, to your holy temple. Those who cherish worthless idols abandon their faithful love. But as for me, I will sacrifice to you with a voice of thanksgiving. I will fulfill what I have vowed. Salvation belongs to the Lord. And then catch this. He's declaring the Lord, his God, his sovereign. And then verse 10, then the Lord commanded the fish, and it vomited Jonah onto dry land. Hear me clearly. This is the message. God does not change, and his word does not change. God does not change. He is the same yesterday, today, and forever. Who did the changing? Jonah. Jonah changed. God brought the whale, and that caused Jonah to have a big change of heart. And once Jonah's heart was changed, God moved him where he needed him to be. So sometimes God's going to send trials to get us where he needs us to be. But hear clearly, God didn't change his mind and then have him spit out. God does not change. His word does not change. Jonah was in the belly of the whale and Jonah changed. And now God is putting him right where he needs to be. I hope you guys have a blessed rest of your week, and I look forward to seeing you on Sunday, and bring a friend. Bye-bye.